Hi, I'm Alvina Ling,
And I'm Grace Lynn.
and we're book friends.
Forever!
We're childhood friends,
Who grew up to be
a children's book editor.
and an author and illustrator. Yay!
Welcome to Book Friends Forever. This is the Publishing 101 episode.
And check out our website, bookfriendsforever.com, and our Instagram handle at bookfriendsforever_podcast. Alvina, how have you been?
I've been my throat. No, I've been good. It's finally nice weather. It was such a rainy Memorial Day weekend, and it was nice to have a long 3-day weekend. But I ended up not really doing anything that I had planned to because I had been invited, to a couple of barbecues but they were also like up in Westchester, which is a kind of a hike from Brooklyn. I mean, it is a hike from Brooklyn. And I think that combined with the weather just made me feel like I'm just going to stay home. I also had an edit to do, a YA book. So I felt like, well, it'll be nice to just kind of leisurely edit over the weekend. And, Steve and I watched bad reality television as always. But we did watch this documentary called Invisible Nation, which was about
Oh,
Taiwan, and it's on
oh,
PBS, and it's available to be viewed for free. And my parents helped fund it to be viewed on PBS. So actually,
oh,
their names are on a list at the beginning.
fun.
But it's like with thanks, with additional thanks too. So that was fun to see. And my father I had seen people post about it, but
Mhm.
then my father, let me know that I should watch it. And so we watched it, and it was very informative. So if you know nothing about Taiwan, I recommend watching it. I'm just looking up what the full name of it. So it's
Well,
called, I'm sorry?
Taiwan's having a moment. I think was the Booker Prize, Taiwan
Oh yeah.
Travel Law. Yeah.
Yeah, which also
So
won the National Book Award for
yes,
translated. Yeah. So it's just called Invisible Nation. And yes, it's on pbs.org, and you can watch it there.
cool.
Um, yeah, I think other than that, well, I did stick close to home, and we did, I did some local dining and happy hours, and had dinner with friends in our neighborhood. So that was really nice.
It seems like you're acquiring a lot of new books for your imprint. It's really fun because now you have the Alvina
Alvina
Ling
Ling
Books
Books.
Instagram. So like now
Yes.
I get to see like you just bought a new one and it's like,
Right.
oh my
And you know
gosh.
what? I was never good about posting those
Uh-huh.
regularly. But now that I have this Alvina Ling Books Instagram uh handle, I don't know, Instagram,
Yes.
I feel like, oh, I should.
Personality.
Um, a lot of the books that have been announced, I had acquired before I had the
Oh, okay.
imprint, but we
But it
just,
still looks fun.
yeah, we were going to announce it this year, and I said, the imprint's going to be announced, like in a month, so why don't we wait? And so we did for a couple of these, and it was nice to
Yay.
have I think that, yeah, I think it's the last for a while though. But yeah,
You'll have to
anyway.
think of new content for Alvina Ling Books
I know. I
handle
do
then.
have some things in mind, and I'm not good at it. Uh, it's been a little busy, so I think maybe when things settle down a little bit, I'll have more
You
time
have
to
to have
do
Stephen be your like
social
social media
media
manager.
person. Yeah,
It's
I
like
don't know if he's that.
Alvina's at work.
Yes, a day in the life. He did take a funny picture of me the other day with my cat on my lap. Maybe I should post that.
Yes. Like maybe it's just things like that.
Yeah. Anyway, how have you been?
Good, good. I mean, it's been a little quieter. Now I finished the Ling and Ting art, which was really exciting for me.
Yay.
And so now I can start working on the novel. But it's always hard to like get that initial like into it. So it's been a little slower, I guess. For me, we finished watching Ted Lasso, which was
Oh,
really
yay.
fun, and which is actually good because I heard they're starting a whole new season this summer, so that's
Yep.
fun.
Yep, in
And
August.
so, just in time, right now, Hazel is in Washington, D.C. for the school trip. She's left
Ooh,
yesterday and she's going to be there till late, 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 late Saturday night. So, it's kind of a little strange to be home. Me and Alex,
quiet.
like, there's no Hazel. So
Did,
that's why I was saying it was quieter even
yeah,
than.
did you take the train or fly?
No, it's a bus
Oh,
trip.
a
So,
bus.
like,
Okay.
so,
Wow,
it's
that's a long bus
the whole
ride.
eighth grade or everybody who wanted to go in the eighth grade is going. So like it's a big trip. Like we were talking about how Hazel went to Puerto Rico with the Girl Scouts, yet somehow we felt a little safer about that than we do about this DC trip. We're just, I don't know if it's political, but I also think it's because of the size of it. Like with the Puerto Rico trip, it was just their troop, so it was a pretty small group, like 10 girls, and like all the chaperones, we felt like, she'd be pretty well looked after. But this is such a huge group. Like I said, it's like the eighth grade, and I'm just like, I hope she's okay. Like, don't wander away. She's like, oh, I won't.
Does
But
she doesn't have a cell phone, does she?
she does, but she
Okay.
doesn't really use it. She doesn't because we got
Hmm.
her the watch first.
Yeah.
And then she got used to the watch,
Yeah.
and so she doesn't really know how to use the phone. She's like,
Yeah.
ah. So,
Well, she
but
could
we
use her
gave her the
watch
phone.
to call
Yes,
if needed.
yes. And so,
When does she
yes,
come back?
she comes back late, late Saturday night, like midnight. So,
Mm.
so because she's gone on Saturday, I'm actually going to go to RISD, my alma mater, because it's actually my 30th uh, reunion there.
Oh,
They have a
wow.
whole reunion weekend planned for it, but we weren't going to go. I can't
Oh
remember
yeah,
why.
it's 2026. I
Yes.
graduated in
All these things we
96.
were going to do, and then we just didn't get around to registering. And so, but I looked and I said they said that you could like register, like just walk in register. So we're going to go on Saturday, since we have no child,
That's fun.
and just online and register while they're there and see what's going on. So I guess it's making me feel very pensive. I
Hmm.
mean, it was just last year that I was there for the honorary degree, which was really amazing. So I don't know why this is making me more pensive. I guess it's more likely that I'm going to see people that I went to college with now,
Yeah.
and maybe that's why I'm a little nervous, more nervous in a weird way.
Yeah. That's interesting. Well, I can't wait to hear about it next week.
Hopefully, hopefully it'll be a lot of fun.
Yes. Okay, so for this week's episode, we thought we'd kind of just go back to the nuts and bolts of publishing. And this might be a review for many of our listeners, but it might be a nice refresher or information for others. And this, honestly, topic kind of came out of the recent discussions of Mac Barnett's adult book, Make
So many things
Believe.
have come out of that.
Because I think I heard that some people in the Kid Lit community really thought that Little Brown Books for Young Readers published it, because maybe because it says Little Brown and we have the same name. But I kind of wanted to talk to start off by talking about how different divisions and different imprints work at different houses. So that's kind of where we started, and we thought, oh, but there are a lot of other kind of publishing 101 type of things that we could also just explain. So let me start with the divisions versus imprints versus publishing companies. So, and of course, I know Hachette the most, and I think it's different at every publisher, but at Hachette, so Hachette Book Group is kind of it's our company, and I always say it's the umbrella, name, Hachette Book Group. And then within Hachette Book Group, we have actually, I don't know how many, but we have, I think, 7 different divisions. So we have Grand Central Publishing as one division. We have Orbit as another division. They're sci-fi fantasy. We have Grand Central Publishing as another division. We have Little Brown Books for Young Readers as another division. We have Little Brown Adult as another division. And then we have, I forget what they combine Workman and Running Press into another division. I believe that's all of them. And then within the divisions, there are many imprints. So within Little Brown Books for Young Readers, now we have Requited, which is our new adult imprint. We have Alvina Ling Books, which is my
Yay!
imprint. We have Christy Ottaviano Books, which is another eponymous imprint. And then we have LB Inc., which is our graphic novel imprint. Within Little Brown Adult, they have Mulholland, which is their thriller imprint. They also have Algonquin Adult, which is under there. But every division is run by a publisher. So Megan Tingley is the publisher of our division, and Sally Kim is the publisher of Little Brown Adult, and Ben Sevier is the publisher of Grand Central. And all the publishers report into our CEO, but all the publishers are very separate. So we just have no really insight into what the other publishers are acquiring. We don't unless we see them announced, right? I think in the case of Make Believe, because it is a children's book author, I believe Sally Kim did kind of t give Megan a heads up, like, oh, I'm acquiring this book. But, Megan had no she didn't get to say like, yes, you should acquire this, or no, you shouldn't, or it was just more of a courtesy. And we do sometimes share authors. So for example, Chris Colfer wanted to write an adult book. And so the agent said, it'd be nice to keep it within the Hachette Book Group family. And so he did send it exclusively to Little Brown Adult. And, they asked me some questions about working with him and that kind of thing. But so we do like to collaborate in that way sometimes, but they're very, very separate. Um,
So, a
yes.
hypothetical, just because I'm
Hmm.
so curious.
Yes.
So, let's say Sally Kim called up Megan and said, "We're going to publish this book," and Megan was like, "But he's a he's a children's book author. We should publish it." Would that have
Mhm.
happened or no?
No, because it's an adult book.
Okay.
Only recently have we kind of started to blur the lines a little bit. So we started Requited, which is in technically those are adult books that are being
Hmm.
published um, under a young readers division. But before that, like we wouldn't publish adult books, and
Hmm.
Little Brown Adult wouldn't publish children's books.
Okay.
Um, Under our new CEO, David Shelley, he kind of made it clear that he's not as concerned about interdivisional competition. And
Hmm.
so I think that's what kind of paved the way for Requited to be published, because we
Hmm.
are now competing against, say, Forever, which is an imprint under Grand Central Publishing that publishes
Hmm.
romance, and they'll
Hmm.
do some new adult. And we've heard that Orbit is publishing, or I haven't really seen them, but we've heard that they're looking actively for young adult
Hmm.
fantasy as well. Um, right. And then yeah, so they're generally we specialize in our categories. So we
So, would
we
you bid against each other?
so we have some rules about that,
Okay.
where we can't bid against each other for the only two publishers bidding.
Okay.
But if there's a big auction, and let's say it's a young adult fantasy book that has some crossover adult appeal. So we might bid on that, Orbit might bid on that, and maybe Grand Central Publishing might bid on it. But if we're the only three interested parties, then we can't actually
Bid.
bid against each other. We can,
So, what would happen?
so the first person who offers would say, I've offered for this, and inform the other. So basically, we would ask the agent, is this within any other Hachette book group
Hmm.
imprints or divisions? And then the agent would say, oh, yes, it's with Grand Central. So we would actually reach out. And once we make an offer, we would say, we've made an offer. And so they can't make an offer until someone else outside of the
Hmm.
house has offered. And then
Okay.
once that has happened, we are able to all compete against each other. But if it's an auction and then it ends up like the final two are within the house, then you have to stop bidding. So it's kind of complicated. And
That's
I
very complicated.
yes, and I
Has that
know
ever happened really? Has that ever happened?
um it has happened very, very rarely. Not like a huge auction where then it's like two, because usually it shakes out that one division is much more excited about something, and so
Uh,
they bid much higher, and then they make it, to the final,
yeah.
and the others drop out. Um, And it has happened where if someone is putting in a preemptive offer,
Hmm.
then no one else is allowed to offer either.
Hmm.
Um,
Got it.
because, yeah, it's complicated. And I
Yeah,
know
very
like at
complicated.
Penguin Random House, they have many, many, many more imprints. And I've heard at some of those houses like Harper or PRH, they aren't able to all offer separately, but they make a house offer.
Hmm.
And I've heard that sometimes, like let's say an editor at Dutton and an editor at Viking, are those both Penguin? Anyway, they both want a project. I've heard that they have to kind of just work it out and they decide who is more excited. Um, I think at Harper, what happens is they make a house offer and then if they win, then they let the author pick
Oh,
who they want to work with. So it
well, that's
happens
fair
different
too. In some ways,
ways.
that's fair, though. That's kind of feels weird too.
Yeah,
Like
it's
the
awkward.
Bachelorette.
Right. It's like who do I want to
Who
be
gets the
with?
rose?
Yes. And I know it's really complicated and confusing, I think, for agents sometimes because at Little Brown, we don't allow simultaneous or, multiple submissions within Little Brown
Hmm.
young readers. So you can't submit something to both me and Christy and someone at
Hmm.
Little Brown young readers.
Hmm.
But you can submit something to us and Union Square because
Hmm.
Union Square is an imprint that's actually underneath Grand Central Publishing.
Uh-huh.
So, we could actually bid on something
Uh-huh.
against them. I don't think we've been in a situation yet where we've bid against them, but I feel like if it came up, it might come out more with Union Square because we have a similar list.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
interesting.
Okay.
Okay,
All
so
right.
that's
So
divisions.
basically, just to clarify, you really had not, Little Brown Books for Young Readers had nothing to do with the Mac Barnett book, really.
No, it's kind of like, like did we publish, like I forgot to mention Faith Words, which is kind of like a religious, and they also have like a conservative imprint, and they're actually under now, I think they're also under Grand Central Publishing. Um, but like they might publish Mike Pence, or I think they did do a Christy Nome book. Is she the one
Mm.
who put her dog on top of her
Oh,
car?
yeah. Oh.
Anyway, like we have nothing to do with those books. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, so it's just completely separate. It's almost like being at a different company, I would
Okay.
say, because it's a different, different marketing, different publicity.
Uh-huh.
I think where there is some crossover is sales.
Mm.
So we have a field sales, and we had, if you listen to our publishing curriculum, we had Julie Isgrig on to talk about being a independent bookstore rep. And so our bookstore reps do sell our entire list of all the divisions. So they
Gosh.
don't distinguish
Hmm.
um, uh,
Between Little
it's
Brown adult versus Little Brown for young
right.
readers, etc. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, that is interesting.
I think I wanted to also just mention briefly that titles can also differ. So I mentioned, so Megan Tingley is our publisher. I know at Penguin Random House that their publishers aren't this quite the same as Megan as a publisher. So
Okay.
and my title as publisher is not the same either.
Okay. What's
So
different?
so I'm uh, Megan, as she now her title is president and publisher, but I think when she first started, she was probably VP publisher, and she oversees the whole division. So that means
Okay.
that design and marketing and publicity all kind of report up to Megan.
Okay.
At Penguin, I've heard that the different imprints have publishers that just oversee editorial. So, for example, Reagan Arthur had been the publisher of Little Brown Adult. And that means also for her, she oversaw, marketing and publicity and design as well. And when
Uh-huh.
she moved over to become publisher at Knopf, she was
Uh-huh.
only overseeing the editorial group.
Okay.
And I know that they sometimes have deputy publisher or associate publisher. And again, that's only within the editorial group. Whereas our
So,
deputy publisher is Jackie Engel, and she oversees publicity and marketing. So they're
So
very
who
different.
oversees publicity and marketing at Penguin?
It reports up to a different person.
Oh,
I think there's like a head of marketing. And
uh,
so all the heads of all the marketing directors for the different imprints
uh-huh.
report up to like a head of marketing.
Oh, okay.
And every publisher has a different structure, and
Okay.
it's really, difficult to know. So, for example, at Macmillan, we talked about the changes at Macmillan and how they're structured is they have a lot of different imprints. So, Roaringbrook was an imprint. It's now going to change its name. Um, but they also had, say, Holt was an imprint, and they have Fievel and Friends. And how they're structured is they have a publishing director who oversees multiple imprints. So Connie is now going to be overseeing whatever her new imprint is going to be called, and then Odd Dot imprint. And then Allison Verrost is now a publishing director who I think oversees Holt and First Second, and I think maybe she has three or four different imprints that report up to her. So it's all different and confusing. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So yeah,
So,
what
okay,
else
so
should we
that's like
demystify?
the big five, right? So
Hmm.
then let's talk about the smaller publishers because I know there's a lot of um when I was starting
Hmm.
indie publishing an indie publisher meant completely different than what it does now. Like an
Right.
indie publisher was like Charlesbridge, like a
Yeah.
independently owned publisher, not some it was
Right.
a publishing company that was not part of the big five was what an indie publisher
And I
was.
think what's confusing is that I think Charles Bridge would still consider themselves an independent publisher, and so would Lee and Low, and I think Norton as well. And
Mhm.
but I think when a lot of people say indie publisher, they can also be referring to a self-published
Yes.
publisher, or if someone is like, I'm independently published, then that means they published themselves, basically.
Yeah, I think because now with the ease of self-publishing through Amazon, like people can set up their own publishing companies, and so it's not like
Hmm.
they're not lying or anything. They are an independent publisher, but it's just a different scale of
Yeah.
what I'm used to, what what I used to consider
Right.
independent publishers.
And then now they also have hybrid publishers, which are kind of like in between a self-published publisher and a traditional publisher. So there's some where they say that they'll say, we'll offer an editor and a cover, but the sales is like self-published through Amazon or,
Mhm.
so and there are a lot of different models for that. So
I feel
that's
like we need
changed.
a better label for the independent publishers like Charles Bridge, maybe like traditionally independent publishers or, like
Yeah.
independent and traditional publishers, like something a
Hmm.
little bit more that's just so it delineates so we know what we're talking about because sometimes I just don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I think I'm going to try to go indie trad publisher.
Right. Traditional. Yeah, that makes sense. I think people
Yeah.
say
Yeah, so like indie
traditionally published,
trad
as
publisher.
opposed to trad wife.
Yes.
We have a trad publisher. Do you want to explain what it means to get an advance against royalties?
Okay, I'll try. Okay, so a lot of people get a little confused by this, and I understand because it is confusing. So, um, when you sign a contract with a publisher, okay, you sign a contract and you get an advance on royalties. Let me see how complicated we should get in here. How in the weeds, I'm trying to think. Okay, so an advance on royalties means that once you sign that contract, the publisher gives you a bulk of money, right? And that is called an advance. Traditionally, it was called an advance because that's what the author would live on while they write the book. And then they would give the book in, and then the book would go for sale. And every book that is sold, the author gets a percentage of that sale. So let's say a book is let's say a book is $10 and the author gets $1 of that 10. That's not really right, but you get the idea.
Yeah, well,
And so,
10%. Yes.
yes. So, let's make the math very, very easy. Okay, so let's say you got an advance of $100.
Okay.
Okay, you got an advance of $100. You got $100, and then you finish the book, and you get $1 for every book that is sold, right? So you sell 10 books, so you made $10, but you don't get that $10. That $10 goes back to the publisher, and they kind of give you credit, and they said, now you only need to make $90 left. Like you
Right.
still owe us $90 from your book sales. So then you sell another 10 books. and then you're like you still don't the author still doesn't get any money. But you now only owe $80 from your advance. But then let's say you sell 100 books after that. And so now you've sold 100 books. You only owed $80 from your advance. So now you get $20
Yay.
because, yay! So you have paid off your advance because all the percentage of your book sales have paid back the publisher what they gave you in the very beginning when you signed that contract. So
Right.
once you pay off your advance, that's when you start getting money. You start getting your royalty money, or start
Hmm.
getting royalty checks.
Yes.
But
And
that
I,
percentage is
mhm.
called the royalty. So,
Yes. And I should say that, even though you owe, you actually don't have to pay it back if
yes,
you don't earn it out. Because
yes.
so the publisher is basically saying, we're going to pay you $100, and we know that if we don't sell enough books to earn that out, we might be losing that $100
Yes.
if we sell zero books.
So yes, so even though I said oh, it's not like you have to pay that money back at all. It's more like we're investing $100 into
Hmm.
your book, and but we are expecting to get that $100 back when
Hmm.
that book goes for sale, and
Yep.
so they're just waiting to get that money back.
Yeah.
So
So I think
maybe that's
like
better.
in an ideal world, authors will earn back their advance, earn out their advance is what we say. And so when that happens, then both the publisher and the author are making money for every additional, book beyond that
Hmm.
is earning. I will say that the publisher can be profitable. The book can still be profitable even if the advance isn't earned out, depending on the level of advance, how many books were sold, etc. Um, but in general, you know, that's one of the things we look at when we're, say, offering on a second book by the same author. We look to see, oh, did they earn back their advance? If they didn't, then we can't justify paying them more for the second book. We might say, well, we can pay the same. Or we might say, we actually have to offer less because
Hmm.
we didn't even come close to earning out the
Yeah, and that's
advance.
why it's so tricky for authors, I think, because I think in general our society is used to the idea of like jobs being on a ladder, like you climb up and up, and so you expect your advance to go up and up and up for each book, but it doesn't really work like that, which is
No, yeah.
so hard. It can go up and then up again and then down again. So
Right. And it can be higher for maybe a certain category if that category is really popular, but
yeah,
and then maybe lower for another category if it's not doing as well. So
so
yeah. So that's advance against royalties. I guess going back to different roles in the publishing house, one that I think a lot of new editorial assistants, even when they start, are really confused by is production versus production editor.
mm.
So I think my former assistant, Rakaya, said that she didn't know that they were different for like 2 years, which is a little. Um, but so, and we've had someone from production on, and that was Lillian's son. And
Mhm.
so production is the department that works with printers and gets the paper, and they like really work to print the books. And then a
Mhm.
production editor is usually under managing editorial, and we had Andy Ball on. We also had Christine Ma, who is a copy editor. So
Mhm.
it used to be called copy editors, they're in-house, but now we use freelance copy editors. So the production editor kind of manages the copy
Mhm.
editing process. So
Mhm.
they're usually I think in some publishers they might be in this under the same umbrella, but at
Mhm.
Hachette they're completely different departments.
Yes.
Um, And then should we talk about, I know marketing versus publicity is
Yes,
something.
I think this is where a lot of authors get really confused because most of the time, hopefully, your book is assigned a publicist, right? And a
Yes.
lot of people will go to the publicist and be like, well, can you get me some stickers made and run a big giveaway? And the publicist is like, that's not what I do because they're getting marketing and publicity mixed up because
Yes.
publicity, their job is to get and it's such is get attention for your book through traditional media outlets, I guess, or even
Yes.
non-traditional media outlets, but
Right.
through media outlets that are trying to get you your book
Hmm.
attention. That
Yeah.
can include these like little giveaways and stuff like that, but that's not their main focus. Like their main focus is like at least I think you can correct me. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But I think their main focus is mainly like sending the books out to the people that they think would be interested in, setting up your book tour if you're having one, like all
Hmm.
those kinds of things.
Yeah. And generally, publicity, publicists used to say that they're trying to get attention for your books for free.
Yes,
So, they're not paying USA Today to review your
yes,
book. I mean, they can't.
yes,
So they're sending copies of the book and sending press releases and pitches and saying like, you should include this in your summer reading roundup.
yes,
But almost everything they do, we don't pay for. It's just their time
yes,
and the books if we're sending books. But the thing that they do coordinate that we do have to pay for are book tours. So that's when, they have to pay travel, hotel, all of that.
yeah,
And so in that sense, it's a lot of coordination and travel and working with bookstores. But publicity will work with marketing on, say, if you're going on tour and you want to give away pens or
yes,
pins or stickers on your tour.
hmm,
So marketing, basically, they create things that cost money to create, and that includes advertising, for example.
yes,
So advertising falls under marketing. Any kind of sticker or tote bag, all of that is under marketing.
yes. So if you
Um,
want a big billboard, you don't go to your publicist, you go to the people in marketing.
yes. And then sales, that's the department that actually sells your book to accounts like Barnes and Noble and Amazon and all the independent bookstores. But all of these departments work very closely together. So, and I think that's why I mentioned that Jackie Engel, our deputy publisher, she oversees marketing and sales. So the head of marketing and the head of sales report up to Jackie. Marketing also has a school and library marketing department, and that's for us at least. That's it's also a separate department that but reports up to Jackie, and
Hmm.
that's Victoria Stapleton. We had Christy Michelle on for our
Hmm.
publishing curriculum and she talked about the difference. And I think what's interesting for me is that school and library marketing is uh, their kind of day-to-day job is kind of like a trade marketing combined with publicity,
Hmm.
because similar to publicity, they do a lot of events, but they're doing the events at the, ALA, at all the conferences and
Hmm.
things like that. School and library marketing and publicity also, they split up certain awards. So, for example, the National Book Awards falls under publicity, but all of the ALA, Newbery, Caldecott, those awards fall under school and library marketing. And so that's sometimes really confusing to know who does what. School and
Yes,
library marketing does all the state awards, but publicity might do, what else does publicity do? They might be in charge of like the Golden Kite Awards, which are with the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators.
hmm.
So, uh, you know, we look at lists if we're confused, but also, oftentimes I'll just forward an email to both
Yeah.
departments and say, who does this fall under? And then someone
I
will
guess
say,
that's
that's me.
why I guess that's why traditionally it's always been the editor as the point person because it's so
Yeah.
confusing to the author. Like, who do I send this to? So the editor can send it along to the correct person. And I think
Yes.
that's probably why traditionally it's always been that way. But I just feel like if we could, if there, I wish there was an easier way.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what other things? Maybe just a couple more. Should we talk about
Okay.
sales materials?
Okay.
So we we have different names for things internally and also externally, but generally for novels, the sales materials we use are called ARCs, which stands for Advanced Reading Copies. But they're also called galleys, and sometimes internally, people use them interchangeably. But the thing is, galleys are also like a part of the production process. Like for your novel, you get
Mhm.
first pass pages. Those are
Mhm.
sometimes called galleys. And I think that's why the sales materials are also called galleys, because we're usually using first page,
Uh-huh.
first pass pages
Uh-huh.
for our sales materials. But that's generally what we use for novels are either ARCs, ARCs, or advanced reading copies, or galleys,
Uh-huh.
etc. And then for picture books, we use FNGs, which stand for
Folded and
folded
gathered.
and gathered. That's not FNGs. um, Folded and gathered proof. And then we also have BLADs, which is
Oh,
basic layout and design. So that's something we might do for, I think, did we do that for Chinese menu? I can't remember. So usually if for a longer book, we might just do like I can't remember what we did for Chinese menu, but I think it would have made sense for us to do, okay, let's just do like one chapter of Chinese
oh.
menu rather than the whole book. So I can't
Actually, I
remember.
think they did the whole
We did
arc.
do the whole
Yeah.
book. Okay.
Yeah.
So but like a cookbook, for example, might just
Yeah.
get a blad, like rather
Mhm.
than the whole
I
book.
remember you doing Blads for like Laini Taylor's book because it hadn't been written. The whole thing hadn't been written yet. So it was like, here's three
Yeah. It's
chapters.
rare. So yeah, those are samplers. So we also
Yeah.
sometimes use samplers and
Uh-huh.
sometimes we haven't done this in a while, but sometimes you give out samplers at bookstores, as a promotion.
Oh,
Um,
that's an interesting
I don't know
idea.
the last time we did that. But sometimes they do that for like Independent Bookstore Day. I know that
Uh-huh.
sometimes they produce things like that. See, and I know like I think for there's like a graphic novel day where they give out free graphic novels, and sometimes
Huh.
publishers will produce like a anthology of just samples. So
I wonder if it's a I'm curious if it's a good promotional device, like to
I
give
think
free
we've just
chapters.
determined not really.
It wasn't? Yeah.
But I do think, and also because you can do samplers digitally, I think a
Uh-huh.
lot of people do kind of like, I know Steven, when he tries to determine what he wants to read next, he often will like open up a sample and, read a
Mm.
couple pages, and if it grabs him, then he'll buy the book.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's probably more useful in that sense.
That's true. Well, I think a lot of authors do that. I remember one of the big things is like sign up for my newsletter and you'll get a free chapter, like
Mhm.
or a free short story, which I always think is really cool. And I've always been like, oh, I should figure out how to do that, but I haven't. Like it's probably something really easy to do, like some real easy like check off box in the program, but I don't know how to do it yet. But I'm like, oh, I should really look into that someday.
Yeah. Should we talk at all about P&Ls, or is that too complicated?
It's very complicated, but maybe it's good. Maybe just I think a lot of people like to know about it because it deals with comps, and I think comps is something that all authors are really interested in.
Mhm.
Um, and why do you have to use comps? And then that ties into the P&L.
Sure. So yes, for if we bring something to our acquisitions meeting, we need to prepare a P&L, which is profit and loss worksheet. And we have to enter in, what the price of the book is going to be. We enter in how many copies we think we can sell of this book in the first year, in the second year, sometimes in the third year. And we base those sales units on comps. So by comps, we mean comparable titles or competitive titles. So for example, for Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, that is not a great example because there weren't any really great
Oh, we
comps for that
used
one.
Sharon Creech's book,
We did, yeah, because that was a full color and it was
Castle Corona.
fantasy Castle
Yeah.
Corona. So I looked up Castle Corona on BookScan, which is a service where it's a certain percentage of sales
Hmm.
reported in bookstores. And so I thought, okay, well, if Castle Corona sold 10,000 copies in BookScan, and she's a Newbery Medal winner, Grace is not at the time. Um, but like I think maybe we can sell 8,000, so
Yeah.
we would kind of estimate based on maybe multiple. We try to have
Yeah.
at least three different
Hmm.
comps. and and then we put in those units. The P&L usually calculates the production costs. So like this is
Hmm.
how much it costs to print like each copy. It calculates marketing. So we'd say, oh, we might spend $20,000 on marketing for this book. So we had to enter in all that, and then
Hmm.
we could see if we're going to be profitable or not. And we can also
Hmm.
determine like if we can sell this many copies, this is how much we could pay
Hmm.
in terms of the advance.
Hmm.
Um, so that is the P&L, and every book has a P&L. And then,
It's
an
tough though, because
acquisition.
if somebody wants to do a book that's kind of outside the box, then it makes it really difficult.
It does. Like Chinese menu was difficult. It was hard to find comps. But I think in that case, though, we had your backlist as to
Yeah.
use as comps, even though they're very different. We also knew like, okay, well, these are how many copies we usually sell for Grace's books. But yeah, it is hard. Yeah, it is more challenging, but in a way that can also be an opportunity because we might say, you know what, this book is unlike any other book,
Yeah.
and we just think we're gonna be able to, get a lot of attention for it, like in the media, the publicity, we'll get a lot of
Yeah.
publicity for it, or um,
So,
all
all right.
right.
So that was P&L. Anything else we want to go over?
I don't know. Is there anything that you feel like you get confused about or
Um,
want to know about?
um, Gosh, I feel like we've both been doing it for so long
Yeah.
that like not really, but maybe if any of our listeners have any questions, they can email us off of our website, they can comment on Instagram, all those things, and we can do it that way because
And we
maybe
can
that's a
do a
better way.
publishing 102
Yes,
or
because
101 part 2.
yeah, because they talk about how people who like they've done it for so long, they're like bad teachers. I kind of feel like that's where where I feel like not that like I'm like I don't know what to tell people because we've been doing it for so long and it seems like, oh, doesn't everybody know that? Like so
Right.
um but that's
All
not
right.
fair to think. So
Fortune cookies.
All right. So moving on to our fortune cookie segment in honor of graduation season, and our offices are right across from Radio City Music Hall, and
oh,
they just have multiple graduations in Radio City
aw.
every day. And so every time when I go into the office, sometimes I see people getting ready to go in for graduation. When I
Aw.
leave the office, people are all dressed, and it's festive. It's
Yeah,
annoying because it's crowded, but it's
but
nice.
it must be so like joyous to have your graduation at Radio City Music Hall.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about, I saw online like this, I don't know what school it was, but it was like raining and they were like all outside in
Oh
like the
no.
pouring rain. And they look so miserable. And I was like, these poor kids.
I
Like
remember
versus
when I
raining.
graduated from UC Berkeley, we were supposed to have our graduation ceremony at the Greek Theater, which is a
Oh.
beautiful outdoor
Uh-huh.
theater, and it was raining, so we were moved indoors into this, I think it was like a gymnasium, and it was just so, you know, kind of ugly. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, ours was on like on the high school
football,
football field, so it
yeah.
wasn't like anything
That
special.
makes sense. Anyway, we just thought in honor of graduation season, we would talk about what kind of speech we'd give if we were asked to be the commencement speaker.
Yes, I thought this was a fun question because, like I said, last year I got the honorary degree from RISD, but luckily I did not have to give the commencement speech. They gave somebody else gave that, but I'm glad that I did not have to. But at the same time, there was a part of me that was like, huh, if I had had to, what would I
Yeah.
have done? You know?
So, what are some of your ideas?
Um, well, my favorite commencement speech that I've ever listened to or heard is the one by David Foster Wallace. And it's pretty famous. It's called like "What is Water?" And it's like I said, it's pretty famous. It follows the parable of like these fish in water, two young fish in water, and then the older fish swims by and says, "Hey guys, great water today." And then he swims away, and the two younger fishes says, "What's water?" You know, like the idea being like you're in it, so you don't really know what it is. And then that's the part that's kind of famous, but he's got another part in that speech that I actually really found really poignant, where he asks the audience to think about what it is that they worship, and worship not in terms of, he's like, it could be God, but it doesn't have to be God. It's like, do you worship money? Do you worship, do you worship love? Do you worship approval? All those things. What is it that you worship? And figure that out before, and so that that so you can not so much you can control it, but so that it doesn't control you, So and I thought that was really interesting, and I remember we had many conversations about that, me, you, and Libby
Yeah.
and Anna, and I still think about that all the time. So that was the one that I really liked, but I don't think I personally would do a speech like that. I think it would depend on I think it would depend on when I was giving the speech. Like I was thinking there's timeless speeches. Like I think What is Water is a timeless speech
Hmm.
versus a timely speech. And I feel like if I was going to give a timely speech, right now, during this like time of AI, I would probably give a speech something about like the importance of like the process and how the struggle is what really changes you, and like the time you put into something is what makes it valuable, like all those things. Because I assume I would probably be speaking at an art college.
Hmm. Yep.
But I guess I guess if I was speaking at an art college, that's what I would probably talk about, especially right now. But if I was doing a more general college, or like and I wanted to give more of a timeless speech, I think I would probably talk about like another thing that's really important too is like the value of like earnestness. Like
Mm.
I feel like nowadays, especially since Hazel is officially a teen, they're so afraid of being cringe, like
Yeah.
cringe, cringe, and I was like, and leaning into like that cringe, and like how it's okay to be a tryhard. Like being a tryhard is not something you have to be ashamed of, like, so
Yeah.
I think that's what I would probably do a speech about. But
I hope you get the opportunity. I would like to hear that speech.
how about you? What would you give a speech about?
Well, I was thinking about our last episode where we talked about what our superpowers are.
Oh, yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
so I thought, well, that would be a good, probably, I mean, sure, it's been done, but, I think that would be a good, I guess, a timeless speech about,
Uh-huh.
finding your superpower and
Yeah.
taking
And living
advantage.
your best life. I feel like that's a
Yes.
very you thing.
And then of course, maybe something to do with children's books. So I actually just saw, actually Stephen showed me this clip that was going semi-viral of Mo Willems
Yes, I
giving.
saw that one. That was really
Yeah.
great. I love that one, actually.
Yeah. So he gave the commencement speech at Colby University, and
Uh-huh.
I didn't see the whole speech, but the clip that's going viral is him reading aloud
Uh-huh.
his book, Me and Other Bunnies, and then
Uh-huh.
asking the audience to repeat. So he'll read a
Yes.
line, it's me, and
Yes.
all of us, or whatever.
And
But
there's always like this little kid.
yeah, so what was cute is apparently the 5-year-old kid in the audience who I think was the nephew or cousin of one of the graduates who started like, so Mo would read it, the crowd would respond, and then this little 5-year-old were like, "Eh," and it was so Mo started waiting for
For-
the kid to
Yeah,
respond.
I actually really liked that.
It
I
was
thought that
really
was
cute.
great.
Yeah, and at the end, I think I saw that he actually gave the kid the book.
Yeah.
So that was really
That's
sweet.
sweet.
So I feel like maybe it's something like everything I learned from a children's book or
Yeah, that's smart actually, because we'd probably be asked to do it because of our capacity as children's book people. So it would be smart to do something like that. Especially you,
to
because you,
uplift the picture book
yes.
or children's books in general. But I always say that I've learned most of what I know I've learned from
Yeah,
children's
yeah.
books.
I think that would be a great speech, actually. It would
Yeah.
elevate children's literature,
Yes.
which, no comment.
Yes, we are all ambassadors. All right. So now we'll end as we always do with what we're grateful for. What are you grateful for?
Let's see. Okay, so I don't know if I've said it already, but I'll say it again. I'm really grateful that the weather is warmer again and the light is bright in the morning, so I can run in the morning.
Yay.
Actually, the other day, I found every year I look for robin's eggs, and the other day I found two robin
Ooh.
eggshells, and so it was so lovely, and it feels so magical when I ever find them. I feel like last year I didn't find any, but this
Hmm.
year. I just found two, and I don't know, it just always feels so magical when I find them.
Yeah. What do you do with them? Do you keep them?
I have like
Yeah.
a little bowl. It's just on my shelf. Like I
Yeah.
have all these things that like I don't that I just have sitting there. Like I also one of my things that I like to do is like press flowers. I love pressing flowers, and I just have like these plastic bags full of pressed flowers, and I'm like I should do something with these someday.
Yeah, you should make
Um,
a collage and
yeah,
then frame it
yeah, that's what I'm thinking someday.
or make bookmarks.
I kind of was thinking like I wanted to do like a scene out of it, like see if I can mix
Hmm.
illustration with it somehow. But
Ooh,
those are
that would be
for
exciting.
yeah, those are for
Another
days.
time.
Yes. Those are for days of Hazel in college. I was thinking like Alex and I were talking about like when Hazel because we're feeling it now. Like when Hazel's in college, we have so much more time. It's so much free like it's so much quieter. So I feel like those are for the quiet days. Um Oh, and the last thing that I'll mention that I'm super grateful for is that I just got invited back to be on the Eric Carle Museum board.
Oh,
So I was on the board, and then I was off the board because you have a I can't remember. You can only be on for so many years, and then you have to come off. Um, and they just I think after you're off for a couple years, you can be invited back if you want to be. And so they asked me if I wanted to be invited back, and I said sure. And so it was
nice.
so nice to be invited back. It makes me feel like, oh,
They
they thought I
like
was
me.
useful. They
Yeah.
like me. They thought I was useful. I wasn't my time there wasn't like like thank goodness we got rid of her. Like so that was nice. So I'm really grateful for that because I really love the Carl Museum, and so I'm grateful that I get to be a part of trying to continue its success. So
Yay.
how about you?
Well, mine, I guess, is kind of related to our fortune cookie topic. But I think I'm grateful for the general pushback I've seen against AI.
Oh
And
yeah.
so a lot of it, some of it has been in commencement speeches. So
Hmm.
there's, a lot of tech people who, for whatever reason, have been tapped to give the speech, and they talk about how wonderful AI is and how it's the new, this new what rev I don't know, like a new revolution, and then they get booed. And so
Yeah.
the booing has been really powerful. And because I think in my mind I thought, oh, well, Alpha, Gen Z, they're just using AI, and and I think they are using AI, but
Yeah.
I love that they're now pushing back against it
Well, I
as
think it's
well.
really interesting because my daughter and her friends, they they don't like AI at all. They think it
Mm.
looks stupid, and they call they're like, "Oh, it's boomer art."
Yeah,
Like only boomers think it looks cool.
right.
And I
But
was like,
I
"Oh, okay."
Yeah, no, I think rather than the art, it's like I think
Yeah.
a lot of people use it for
Oh
the
yeah, I think a lot of people use it
chat
writing.
GPT
Yeah.
or to use it to write papers and that
Yeah,
kind of
that's
thing.
true.
But I think, the I can really think the pushback is in part because that, now they're graduating and they see that the job market is not great because
Yeah.
AI has taken away jobs. The Pope just came out with this basically a missive against AI and the dangers of AI, which I thought were really compelling. And actually, I think I mentioned, my husband Stephen, he uses ChatGPT and he really likes it. But he is starting to turn against it. There was a study that a Stanford student did that talked about how AI chatbots, basically become very, they're programmed to be very agreeable, and then
Hmm.
how then, and people like it when they're agreeable, but then it actually makes them less able to accept criticism in real life
Hmm.
from
And
people.
yeah,
And
it inhibits growth, right? And I
Mhm.
think that's kind of what's happened. I mean, we don't need to go too deep into it, but I think that's what's happened with social media and all the algorithms because we're always shown what we want to see.
Yeah.
And so we kind of feel like the world should always show us what we want to see, and like people should be who we want them to be. And then like all
Yeah.
of a sudden they're not, and we don't know how to deal with it because we're like, wait, this is not right. You know, like so.
Yeah,
Um,
so I think I'm just grateful because for a long time a lot of people are saying it's inevitable. It's inevitable. Like don't resist it. Don't resist it. And you have to remember like this is a billion-dollar industry, and
yeah.
they're
they're the
they're
ones trying to tell you it's inevitable. It's nothing.
right. And the people are saying, no, it's not inevitable. Like we can
Yeah.
push back against it. So
They
it
said
just
the
gives
same
me
thing about
some,
human cloning, like,
mhm.
and I mean, maybe it is inevitable, but we slowed that down really fast. Like, why can't we slow this down? It's
Yeah, we
because,
can. It's,
you know,
but yeah, they don't want to
they
because
don't want to. But
they're making money.
if we could get enough people to want to, I think it would.
Yeah. So
So,
anyway, so I'm grateful for that, for a little glimmer of hope.
yes.
And that was the Publishing 101 episode. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to Alex at Pacey Work Studio for editing this podcast. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend about it.
I feel like that grateful, we kind of did not end on that like happy high note that we usually do, but we're still grateful. Okay. Tag us on social media using the hashtag BookFriendsForever, or send us a message via Instagram at BookFriendsForever_podcast, or via our website, BookFriendsForever.com. And please join our Patreon. The link is in the show notes.
I'm Alvina Ling, and you can find me at Alvina Ling on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads.
And I'm Grace Lynn, and you can find me at Pacey Lynn on Instagram and Threads, and author Grace Lynn on Facebook.
Have a great week.
And don't forget to read. Bye!